Have you ever asked yourself, should you train when sore? And maybe, is soreness related to muscle growth at all? Is soreness something that you should look for, like you actually really want to be sore and you're training with the goal of being sore? We're going to cover all of that in this video. But before we do, if you haven't already, subscribe, click the button below and subscribe to this channel, because on this channel, you're going to learn how to build a $1 million body that goes along with your business success. What's up, everybody? This is Coach Amir from 7figurebody.com, and in today's video we're going to talk about soreness. So a lot of questions, and you've probably heard or maybe asked yourself sometimes, is soreness a good thing? Should we actually chase soreness? Like, should we really aim to be sore after a workout? Number one. Number two, when you are sore, should you actually train, or should you just wait until soreness is completely gone? And then three, what are the types of exercises or type of activity that causes soreness to begin with? So let's go right into it. So the first thing, is soreness something that you should aim for? Should that be the goal? And the answer is no, absolutely it should not. So you probably heard before DOMS, the famous DOMS, which stands for delayed onset muscle soreness, which simply means basically the soreness does not show up immediately after the workout. It's just exhaustion, usually after the workout if you worked out really hard. Usually, 12 to maybe 24 hours or more after the workout is when you actually experience the soreness. And what is it? Back in the day, like probably 20 years ago, it used to be believed that this theory where you have a lactic acid accumulation in the muscle from working out, that's what's causing soreness. Of course, we know that's not true because, simple physiology tells us that you really recover from that lactic acid, and you kind of flush it out really, really quickly in a matter of hour or two after the workout. So it's certainly not that, because it's way too long between them. So of course we know it's not lactic acid that's causing soreness. So what is it? It's actual muscle damage. Like there's actual mechanical damage to the muscle fibers that causes this. And now of course, one of the proposed mechanisms of actual muscle growth used to be, and kind of still is in some circles, that muscle damage is one of the three things that causes muscle to grow. Now, of course, lately, especially in the last 2 to 3 years, there's been a lot of research that kind of threw a shade on that idea and basically said, hey, they're really not related, and muscle damage does not cause more growth. And this actually kind of goes together with all the research that we have showing that basically being sore does not mean that you're going to build more muscle compared to not being sore from the workout, okay? So basically, should you be chasing soreness? No, the answer is no, that should not be the goal. If it happens, it depends on which level of soreness you got. It can, maybe sometimes it can be a little bit of positive thing, but more often than not, it's probably not going to be the case. So soreness is not something to chase, okay? This is not what we should, like they say, we're chasing pumps or we're chasing DOMs. You should definitely not chasing DOMs. And pump is something we're going to talk about in another video. But for now, remember, soreness is not something that should be the goal of training. You should not go into the gym and say, I really want to kill myself so much that I'm sore after. No, that's definitely should not be the goal. Number two, should you train when you are sore? So should you do go and do another workout? Well, definitely the answer is it depends. And what it depends on, how sore you are. Are you so sore that you basically, let's say you did a leg workout and you can't walk? Should you train when you can't walk? No, of course not. And actually, one thing that I do suggest doing when somebody's sore, for example, let's say you have a quad or hamstring or glute soreness, then it's a very good idea to do a low intensity cardio. Basically, walking would be my absolute best recommendation to speed up the recovery. On the other hand, one of the things that really causes the most soreness is, in the gym at least, is a new stimulus or novel stimulus. So what does that mean? Basically doing an exercise that you haven't done before. And this is also true for people who are highly trained, who go to the gym often, they actually lift weights and work out and they're in shape. They can still be or get sore just by doing a new exercise that they haven't done before, or doing a certain movement that is just different from what they used to. So for example, the easiest example of this would be if you're doing your tricep exercises and you normally do, let's say, I don't know, some kind of like a like the basics, like skull crushers, or you're doing cable, tricep extensions, and now all of a sudden you say, well, I'm gonna do overhead, dumbbell extensions. In that case, because it's a new stimulus, you haven't done that way of hitting your triceps before, and again, this could be like you've done it 5 years ago, that doesn't count. Lately you haven't done it, and then you start doing that now, you're probably gonna be sore, even if you're constantly training your tricep, you're in shape, blah, 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 all of these things, right? So that simply shows you that muscle soreness is really a stimulus to, or rather a response of the body to the new stimulus. As such, you can see that it really doesn't make sense that it's in any way related to more growth, like you're gonna build more muscle if you get sore, and actually, given what comes from CrossFit world, rhabdomyolysis, which you probably heard, which is basically dying off of muscle tissue when you do it too much, which again, CrossFit and all the other lovers and CrossFit zealots can actually push things so far that actually can cause muscle damage to die off, and this can actually be very, very, very potentially dangerous and maybe even lethal sometimes, like people can literally die from that. So it's a very serious condition that you never want to get to, which basically shows that if you push soreness far too much, it can absolutely be a negative thing, because how long it takes you to recover from that? Forever. So let's say number one thing that causes it outside of the gym, number one thing that causes soreness is basically eccentric loading of the muscle, which means when you're under load, when your muscle is being lengthening, right? So that's the eccentric part of the movement. That's what's known to cause way more soreness than concentric is. And by the way, notorious for this is downhill running. So, or, let's say if you do some kind of hike of 6 hours and then you're for 3 hours hiking down the hill, this is because the muscle is constantly being stretched out under load. This is actually probably the number one thing to get crazy sore in your quads, which again, this should not be the goal. You shouldn't be chasing DOMs, but sometimes, like I used to do these multi-hour like adventure races that would have, like you're climbing up some crazy steep and tall, like high hill, and then for like 2 hours you're going down the hill, and of course you're running downhill, which is, by the way, if you ever want to destroy your knees, this is the best way to destroy them. And two, if you want to get so sore that you can't walk, like literally can't walk for days, this is what, is the best way to do it. And of course, I'm saying do not do that, obviously, right? But this is, of course, not good for muscle growth. Imagine how long it takes. Like sometimes it took me 2 weeks to recover from that. During those 2 weeks, you really can't train your quads properly because you're so sore you can't walk. And obviously, your muscles, when it comes to like how many times you can, hit the muscles and they recover, that cycle has passed several times while you're still being sore. So you're losing on potential gains. In short, definitely soreness is not something to chase, not something to look for. And if anything, the main rule that I want you to remember every time you're training, whether it be for cardio performance, whether it be in the gym, lifting, and to build muscle, is we're chasing progress in the gym, not soreness. So you do not want, one of my mentors used to say, train to stimulate, not to annihilate. And this is absolutely true. We don't need to be like so dead that you need to be like taken out of the gym. This is, maybe for like 18-year-olds who are, full of testosterone and they're trying to like, impress each other and they, get really injured or die or whatever. While doing that, for them, soreness is probably great because, hey, I got so sore I couldn't walk for 6 days. Well, good for them, but for you, a thinking entrepreneur, it is not something to be chased, okay? So basically, we know that the muscle damage is really very likely not related to muscle growth in any way. So in short, even if you do get sore, that's okay. You probably still can train if the soreness is not that bad. And I would absolutely suggest walking or some kind of very low intensity cardio, maybe biking or maybe even running, but very, very low pace, very low intensity to recover faster from that soreness, okay? So in short, that's what soreness really comes down to, is something that is not the goal. And one thing that will recover faster if you do get sore is low intensity cardio or just walking, and by all means avoid downhill running if at all possible. So that's it for this video. Hope you liked it, and if you did, please click that like button below and click that ring the bell there so you can get the notification every time we come up with new videos. And if you haven't already, subscribe to this channel, because here is where you will learn exactly how to lose all the weight you want and get in phenomenal shape as a successful entrepreneur. Thank you guys for watching. See you next time.